physios, welcome to my YouTube channel Physio's Healing Touch. So in this video I am going to tell you about equilibrium test. So in my previous video I told you about non-equilibrium test. So if you haven't checked that video, then I will link that video so that you can check it later. So equilibrium test is basically performed to check the balance of the patient. It is used to check whether a patient can maintain his center of mass within the base of support or stability limits. In simple words, equilibrium test is basically performed to check whether a person can maintain his body in equilibrium against gravity. In equilibrium test, we also give perturbations. Perturbations are basically external forces to displace his center of mass, and we see whether a person can maintain his stability or not. So we can give equilibrium test in static postures and in dynamic postures as well to see whether a person can maintain his balance or not. So now let me tell you how to perform this test.
So first is standing in a comfortable base of support. The patient will maintain this position for 20 to 30 seconds and we have to record if there is any anterior or posterior sway. So if patient can maintain this position, next is standing in a narrow base of support. Patient's feet will be together and he has to maintain this position for 20 to 30 seconds and you have to record if there is any anterior, posterior or lateral sway of the patient. If there is sway, then the balance of the patient is poor. Now next is tandem standing. In this, the patient has to put his one foot just in front of the other foot and he has to maintain this position for 20 to 30 seconds. During all these positions, patient can also change his arm position like yard standing or reach standing or stretch standing and yard standing. So he can also change his arm position during all these activities to check balance of the patient. After tandem standing, there is standing on one foot. So he has to stand for 20 to 30 seconds on one foot and we can check both the legs. During all these positions, therapist can also give perturbations to further check the stability of the patient, and while giving perturbations, patient has to maintain that position. Next is forward trunk flexion with upper extremity reach. Now next is standing with lateral trunk flexion. So first patient will perform lateral trunk flexion in right and then he will perform lateral trunk flexion in left. Now next is Romberg's test. In this, the patient will be in standing position and first he will maintain his position with eyes open and therapists have to check if there is any anterior, posterior, lateral sway of the body and then ask the patient to close his eyes and maintain this position. Now, if a person has cerebellar ataxia, then there will be sway of the body both during the eyes open and eyes closed. So during both time, eyes open and closed, there will be sway of the body in cerebellar ataxia. While in sensory ataxia, there will be sway only while the patient closes his eyes, because in sensory ataxia, there is loss of proprioception and kinesthetic sensation and patient fully rely on his eyes visual input to maintain the balance. So when patient will close his eyes, there will be sway, there will be anterior, posterior and lateral sway in the body because now there will be no visual feedback. Now next is sharpened Romberg sign. So for this, the patient will be in tandem standing and first we will check patient with eyes open and then we will tell patient to close his eyes and maintain this position for 20 to 30 seconds. Both with eyes open and eyes closed, we have to maintain the position for 20 to 30 seconds and we have to check if there is any sway in the body. Now next equilibrium test is tandem walking. So patient has to put one leg just in front of the other foot. So he has to perform tandem walking both in both directions. Now next is walking on a marked straight line. So as you can see, there is a marked straight line and patient is walking on that straight line. So he has to perform a normal walking on that straight line. Next is marching in place. So patient has to perform marching on one spot. Now next equilibrium test is forward walking, backward walking, and side walking, and then patient has to perform cross walking. During all these positions, we can command patient to stop or start suddenly to check the balance, and we can also alter the speed of the patient by giving command. Next is walk and pivot on command. So he will walk and then turn on command at 360 degrees. So this is the way he has to turn at 360 degrees. And if therapist say turn at 180 degrees, so this is the way patient has to turn for 180 degrees. And if therapist say turn 90 degree, so patient will rotate like this. So these all are 3 degrees, 90, 180 and 360. Note carefully how patient has to turn. Now next is heel walking and toe walking. Next is walking with horizontal and vertical head turns. So now you can see I am walking with flexion and extension of my head. And then you can also ask patient to rotate his head, and patient has to maintain his direction. Now next is obstacle walking. In this, the patient has to avoid all these obstacles and he has to maintain his direction without displacing balance. Now next is stair climbing. Initially patient will do it with support of handrail, and then the patient has to perform stair climbing without support of handrail. Now next is sitting on a Swiss ball, and patient has to maintain his balance while sitting on a Swiss ball, and patient can also further extend or flex his leg or upper limb to further check his balance. So I hope you liked my video. So if you liked the video, then please like, share and subscribe to my channel.